Top of the morning, planet Earth, and to all you healthy and happy and hearty ladies and gentlemen, a hello from the Celtic Coach to all of you. You're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. Think about it this way. If Robin Williams, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, if that spiritualness, life coaching, and science had a baby, it would be this show. It would be me. I'd be the baby. Weird. Very weird. I know, but hey, it's my show. What can you do? All right, welcome everyone. Let's get a cup of tea here going. Okay. All right. What are we going to be talking about today, Dermot? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's like, have you ever asked yourself, your brain, what could go wrong? And your brain said, I'm glad you asked. All right, there's a bit of a streak in your voice today, Dermot. What is that? Oh, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be anywhere, really. You know, just somewhere, anywhere, here, now, whatever. We're going to be talking about the funny side of life. Now, if you just joined us, you're listening to Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. We're going to be talking today about the funny side of life. If you're sitting at home on the lazy boy, you're going to pick us up at 92.5 FM, F for Frank, and M for... That was a long one. Matilda. And if you're listening on the wacky and World Wide Web, maybe you're listening on iTunes, SoundCloud... what else do I have out there? iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, on my website, thecelticcoach.com, where you can pick up all the archived episodes of the show. Feel free to jump in there and have a listen to. There's some great interviews that I've done over the years. Gay Hendricks, Guy Feenley, Michael Neal, which I'll have all of those guys back on here in the next 3 weeks. Next week I'm going to have Daniel on, the healer. And the week after that, we're going to have Guy Finley come on and talk about relationship magic, about his new book. So I know a lot of people know Guy's work from the show, and this will be his third appearance on the show. So I'm really excited to have Guy on. He's just an incredible human being. I think he's one of the best teachers on the planet. That's just my view. I could be wrong. Doubtful law. All right, we're going to be talking about the funny side of life. Yes, I have looked at my life, and boy, can I get a great laugh out of some of the things that I've done. And I'm sure God up there is laughing, or in there, or wherever he might be, or she is, that she's laughing too. The funny things that we do as humans. Oh my gosh. We're going to be talking about what we do, why we do it, the funny things that we do as humans. One way to solve all your problems. Is it a real problem in your life, or is it just a real problem in your thinking or in your head? So we're going to be talking about how to solve all your problems one way. Also, life is a full contact sport. Being human, what's all the fuss? In life, there's two ways to go. And for a lot of my life, I've gone the second way, which I don't encourage anyone to go. You can go with the flow of life, or you can be dragged. And I have to say, for the last, good 20, 30, 40, maybe years, maybe more, I've been just dragged through life with a little bit of flow. It's kind of been a drag flow, or a flow of the drag. You know, it's like your mother pulling you by the ear, and you're not totally resisting her, but you're not totally going with it either. It's that kind of a metaphor. Yeah. Okay. We're also going to have Seamus, the only Irish leprechaun that I know exists on the planet. I don't know that anyone else has an Irish show with a leprechaun on it, or just a leprechaun in general. And he's going to be coming in talking about the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being human. So Seamus will be coming in here in about 45 minutes. We got a 1 hour show, so let's jump in. The funny side of life. Why do we do what we do? Why is it that we are... Like, here's some funny things. For instance, in England, they take a really good Mars bar or Twix bar, chocolate bar. They wrap it in dough, and then they boil it in oil. And they sell it as dessert. Now, that's pretty crazy to me. That's funny. How about making up stuff in our head to try and explain the stuff we just made up in our head? How about making somebody responsible for how we feel? Have you ever done that? Well, if that person only acted this way, I would feel better. If only my husband could do this, I'd feel better. If only my wife could take out the trash, I would feel better. How about this one? This one always gives me a laugh. I'm a professional life coach, and I have a lot of clients that I coach. And one of the things that I coach clients around quite effectively and quite transformatively is helping them to realize that they are not their thinking. Really? Yes. In life, we conflate. Not to be confused with, the other kind of flat. Lens. Conflating, right? Not the other. And we conflate things, which means we take two things and we make them the same. We take the object, and the object that we're thinking about, we make it the same. Problems is a great example of that. We think there's a problem. There's a problem. Houston, there's a problem. And there may be something that needs to be fixed, but then there's also our thinking about the problem. And we overinflate as opposed to deflate. We overinflate what the actual situation needs, warrants, or is in our heads. God's up there laughing his head off. I mean, he must just laugh at some of the things we do. Plucking our eyebrows, plucking our toes, getting our back waxed, getting your bum waxed, hanging jewelry from different parts of the body that shouldn't have jewelry hanging from it. Or maybe it does, I don't know. Painting your body. I mean, that's, although I've thought about a tattoo. Thinking our thinking is real. How about this one? Oh, God must laugh at this one. Death. These guys think they're going to die. Oh, my God, I never heard such rubbish in all my life. But thanks, God. It'd be good if we could realize that. Right? How about thinking a new car is going to fix your problems in life? Any ever done that? I at the moment, I'm looking into buying a new truck. And, a big truck. Because I want to fill it full of gas and drive it for 20 minutes. But I just like trucks. And I figure that there's a part of me that says, boy, is life going to be great when I get that truck? Is my life going to be different when I get that truck? Like, there's a part of me believes that. But then there's a part of me says, no, it's not. It's not going to be any different, Dermot. It may be for 2 weeks, and then that'll be gone. And you'll be on to the next thing. Maybe it's, a new radio or a new house or whatever it might be. So we're thinking that getting new things is going to fix the problems in life. They don't. And even more on that, there is no such thing as problems. It's in our thinking. How about this one? Making more money is going to make me feel secure. Oh, yes. I've coached a couple of people that have had a lot of money. And I've had conversations with people who have lots of money. And they say, I've asked them, does it make you feel more secure? Because I often thought in my life, and I still do today, to be honest with you, if only I could make $1 million, which doesn't seem a whole lot in today's currency, but if I could make $1 million and put it in the bank and I'd live off the interest, I'd be happy then. And what they tell me is, Dermot, you have more problems when you have more money because you have more money to think about losing. I thought, wow. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having money. I like money. I mean, I don't know whether to spend it or frame it. I like money. There's no question about it. I could spend it, I could frame it, or I could just make mad, passionate love to it. Or all three. Just not at the supermarket while I'm spending it. The making love part is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's take a look at these in a little more detail. Because you're rabbiting on there, Dermot. You're not making any sense at all. Well, that's another thing in life. We think we are making sense. I used to do certain drugs back in my 20s, and I used to think I was solving all the problems of the world when I was having conversations with my other buddies who were less sober than I was. And we would spend hours and hours and hours figuring out all the problems. We would make stuff up in our head, and then we would tell ourselves the stuff that we just made up in our head wasn't good enough. We needed to get other stuff, other thinking in our head to explain the stuff we just made up. Now, we do that in life, don't we? We make other people responsible for our happiness, and then we think of it, okay, so let me see if I can validate that. That person did that, and that made me feel blah, blah, blah. Now, again, I'm not saying to deny your experience. That's not what I'm saying, right? Denial is not only a river in Egypt, but denial is also not the way to go. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, these are the facts. This is what happened. But at some point, we must be able to accept what happens. It doesn't matter what it is in your life, accept it, and then let it go. Okay? Now, through our thinking, here's how it works. It's really simple. And truth is simple. That's why it's truth and not complicated. Although there's a lot of complexity in simplicity. But that's a whole other show. We have a thought. That person just did something now to really annoy the heckin' soul out of me. And when we look at it a little bit deeper, we start to notice that, yes, there was something that was inappropriate or whatever it might have been, wrong, but that our thinking about it made it bigger than it was. We made the mountain out of the molehill. You know what I mean? And we do this with a lot of things. We say, well, if that person acted a certain way, I'd be happy. If my girlfriend or my wife could just do this and this and this and this and this and this on these days when I think she should do it, and she should know what I'm thinking, which they don't, and we don't know what you're thinking either, ladies, that we'd be happy or that our life would be better. And it's just not true. Because the way the system is created, here's the way it works. Now, I think it's kind of funny, but here's how it works. And here's where we get caught up. We think that the problem is an outside thing. We think that our feelings are coming from the outside. Something is making me feel that way. That person, that place, or that thing, or that project, or that job, or the lack of money, or the guy driving too slow in front of me is making me feel X, Y, and Z. Fearful, joyful, peaceful, loving, compassionate, angry, annoyed, whatever it is. And the truth is, the experience can only come from our thinking. 100% of your experience is created through thought. It comes through the filter of your mind and is expressed out into the outside world. Now, it can't happen any other way. Now, Viktor Frankl is such a great example of that. He was someone that was in Auschwitz in Germany during the Second World War, and he was able to be peaceful. He was able to find joy within himself, connect to the joy in himself, independent of circumstances, independent of his circumstances of being in a Nazi concentration camp and burying people that he knew, seeing people that he knew get killed, starving to death. I mean, he saw some horrific things. But he knew that the experience was not responsible for how he felt. The experience of what he was experiencing was separate than what he felt. But most of us in life think that the experience is how we feel. But it's not. Because how it works is we have a thought which creates a feeling, or you could say that a thought, a feeling is a thought expressed into an emotion. And we have that feeling, and that feeling creates an experience, and we call that experience fact. We call that experience life. We call that experience our in the moment experience of life. Let's take another one. I used to think for a long time that making more money would make me feel secure. And I've had a lot of jobs over the years, which I'm going to write. I've got this great idea to write all these little books on all the jobs that I've had over my life. I've had numerous jobs. Because I used to think that it was the job that was making me happy. And so I'd have a job for a while. I'd like the job. I'd enjoy the job. When the novelty of the job wore off, I thought, oh, this job is crap. I don't want it anymore. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for me, which is actually true. But I said, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to go get another one. And so I would move town or sometimes states and countries, get another job, and I'd be happy for 6 months. Usually it was 6 months. My thing was around 6 months to 8 months, sometimes a year if I was lucky, if I enjoyed the food. And then I'd say, oh, this job is terrible. Oh, my God, what did I ever see in this job? I need to go to another one. And I did this for a lot of years, thinking that the job was making me happy. Never. It was my thoughts that were creating the feeling that I put onto the job. And when my thoughts created a feeling that said, this job is no longer interesting, it's boring, I don't like the people, they're wasting my time, I'm not making enough money, they don't appreciate me, don't acknowledge me enough. Now, all of those things could be real for you in your life. I'm not saying to discard them or disregard them. They all may be real as experiences. But how we relate to the experience, how we experience the job, is 100% through our thinking. So here's your question. Here's your question. We do some funny things in life. There's no doubt about it. Oh, my gosh. So here's a question for you. How much, most people that I know, and I did a walk across America, and I interviewed a lot of people back in 2008. I walked from LA to DC, and I introduced a lot of people, interviewed them. And all of them said basically they wanted to have a peaceful, great life. They wanted to have a better life. And one of the questions that I've started to pose to myself over the last few months, that were not coming, that could be coming, but have gone. How much do I really need to know? Or another way of saying it, if you're someone who, says, I got to have X amount of money to be happy. How much do you really need to have? Or how much do you really need to know to live a great life? That's a powerful question. Like, how much do you really need to have in the bank to live a great life? Because I know poor people that are miserable. And I know poor people, financially poor, that are happy as Larry. When I was in India in 2008, I remember going to this little village. It was a little village in dirt poor. The school didn't have a roof on it, didn't have any windows. It was just like four walls, a brick building with four walls, and it had the opening for the windows, but it had no windows on it. And it was a cement floor, and all the kids sat on the cement floor on a rag or a little towel or something that they were given by their parents to sit on. And I got to tell you, they were the most happiest kids I've ever met in my life. And not only that, I went there. I had nothing at the time. I brought a bag with me. That was about it. And I sat in that dirt, and we sang. They wanted to learn English, so I started singing some U2 songs. And I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life. And those kids were so appreciative and so happy just to have someone to sit and talk with and play with and learn English from. And I realized in that moment that I didn't need to have all the tools and all the bells and all the whistles. Even though I just got a new iPhone. My first iPhone, actually. I just got rid of my my flip phone. I quite like my flip phone, but however, that's a whole other show. And I realized in that moment that you don't need a whole lot in order to live a great life. So how much do you really think you need to know or to have to live a great life? If you took 10 minutes to think about that question, you'll be very surprised. Because if you look back on your life and you look at, how much you didn't have before you did have, and how you were happy. When I lived in LA, when I first went to LA, I didn't have a whole lot of money. Well, I had a lot of money, and then I spent it all. And about a year down the road after being in LA, you kind of grow in LA or you go. And I decided I was going to grow and stay. And I remember we used to, myself and my roommate, Brian, we'd go down and we'd have enough money to buy a bottle of beer each and maybe $1 movie. And I tell you what, there were some of the happiest days of my life when we were going down to pick out the movie and we had a bottle of beer each and we could afford our rent that month. It was a great time to be alive. I mean, today's a great time as well. But I just realized back then how little I needed in order to just have a great life. So please take a moment to ponder that question. Not now, but, pause the thing and grab a cup of tea and ponder that question. We're going to be right back with one way to solve all your problems. Oh, yes, one way to solve all my problems. Is there really such a thing, Dermot? One way to solve all my problems? Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Stay tuned. You were listening to the Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. We'll be right back, everyone. That's the cow. We're back. KOWS.FM, F for Frank, M for Matilda. You're listening to the wacky and wonderful World Wide Web, the Celtic Coach radio show where science, spirituality, and self-discovery meet. All right, let's keep the show going here. The funny side of life. Now, if you just joined us, we were talking a little bit about why do we do what we do? Why do we conflate things? Why do we take two things that have no relevance to each other and make them the same? I.e., a person, project, or thing, and are thinking about it. Now, one way to solve all your problems. Well, Dermot, that sounds like a very big promise. I don't know, Dermot. That seems like a pretty big promise to me. Well, Angus, I'm going to do my best to try and give you one way to solve all your problems. Oh, thank you. All right. Who let that Scottish man in here? Is there one way to solve all your problems? Well, let's take a look at it first. The word problems. Now, I often ask my clients, do you like surprises? Oh, I love surprises, Dermot. I love getting surprises. Oh, Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving. Oh, it's great. By the way, we decided last year, we were going to have a stress-free Thanksgiving, and so we stuffed a turkey with Prozac. And I have to say, it was the calmest Thanksgiving we ever had. And the turkey was pretty happy about it, too. So, I don't know, if you want to have a stress-free Thanksgiving, that could be one way to go. And what the heck was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying now. What the heck was I saying? Is there a reference? Okay. Oh, God. I know something about the clients, so maybe we'll get there. All right. I've totally lost it. I apologize. I'll come back to it. I'm pretty sure I'll come back to it. All right. Gather your thoughts. Look professional, Dermot. Look professional. It's a professional show. You've got to pretend like you got your act together. I don't have my act together. I really don't. I'm an Irishman. I'm just trying to get through and get into life as much as I can. Actually, I'm getting into life as opposed to getting through. I used to get through life, which is a question for you. Are you getting into life or are you getting through life? All right. Take a problem you have in your life, any problem at all, and ask yourself this question. Is the problem, is it a real problem in your life or is it a real problem in your head? Now, remember I talked earlier about making mountains out of molehills? Now, there's a really easy way to make a mountain out of a small hill, a molehill, is through our thinking. Thinking inflates everything. It's the best way I know possible to take a problem, something that needs to be solved, and make it huge. And we do it through our thinking. We do it to our escalated thoughts. We have a thought, creates an emotion. That emotion we call our experience, and we put that experience onto a person, place, or thing, or problem. Oh, yes, I remember what I was going to say. I asked my clients, do they like surprises? And they say, yeah. And I say, well, you like surprises that you like. But the surprises that you don't like, you call them problems. See, I knew I'd come around. I'm like my little lady. Eventually, I'll come around. It's a kind of a circular conversation. So eventually, I'll come back around. That's to you, sweetie. That's to you. All right. So is it a real problem in your life or is it a real problem in your head? Another way of asking that is, what makes a problem a problem? Or what makes a problem a real problem? Or what makes a problem real? Lots of different ways. That was pretty good, Dermot. That was pretty good. That was pretty professional. You lost them there for a minute, but you got it back. Good lad. Well done. All right. So is it a problem in your head? Now, take any problem that you have in your life and separate the problem from your thinking about the problem. And I guarantee what you'll be left with is just a situation that needs some action. Another way of thinking, and what you recognize about the problem is it's not that big because we only make it big in our head. A problem is a question that has not been answered yet. A problem is a question that has not been answered yet. I've got this problem. I don't know what to do. That's your question. What should I do? Now, here's a great way. Here's one way to solve all your problems. It's probably the best way I know possible. Most of us, actually, let me bring this back to me. I'm practicing today, share what you know, Dermot, instead of what you think you could tell people. And that comes from George Pransky. Look that guy up. He's an amazing, amazing man. He told me one time, Dermot, share what you know. That's good enough. So, what I'm starting to experience in my life is to slow down to the speed of life, as opposed to, here's how I've lived most of my life, at the speed of my thinking. I rev myself up to the speed of my thinking. Right? You see people on motivational channels. All right, let's get pumped up. Let's get your emotions going. Let's get you into a resourceful state. Now, I've done that kind of coaching. And I've even done that type of experiencing life, where you rev yourself up to get yourself to do something that you actually really don't want to do. Right? You rev yourself up. You rev your thinking. You rev your emotions up through your thinking. That's how you rev your emotions up. You think about it, you have the emotion, and then you go for it. Okay. Now, that works some of the time, but let me tell you, that's like having a car. A car. You know, like having a car, Dermot. You know what I mean? I do. Having a car. And you have one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake. And you're revving the crap out of your car, thinking you're going somewhere. Now, I got to tell you, if you look at those car shows, the ones that go really fast for about 10 seconds and they burn out, the motors blow up, you know, those speed racer cars, that's kind of how we live our lives. And then we wonder why we're anxious. We wonder why we're burnt out. We wonder why we're tired. We wonder why we're like knackered every day, which is Irish for tired. Here's one way to solve any problem that you might have in your life, whether it's in your head or it's actually in your life. It's actually both. It's in your head and in your life. But most of it is in your head. If you were to separate your problem from your thinking, ask yourself, how much of the problem is actually real? What percentage of 100? What percentage of the problem is real, which is usually about 10%? And what percentage of the problem is in my head, in my thinking? It's about 90%. Are you sure about that, Dermot? I am, Angus. I'm really sure about it. I know because I've experienced it many times. So here's one way to solve all your problems. Would you be willing, this is the question, by the way, would you be willing to slow down to the speed of a solution? Because what I'm learning in my life is to slow down to the speed of life as opposed to trying to rev myself up to stay at the speed of my thinking. It's not possible that you can live your life at the speed of your thinking. Now, I've tried that for many years. Trust me on that one. I have tried to live at the speed of my thinking. I've got a to-do list longer than the river Jamuna in India, which is a really long river. To-do list, to-do list, to-do list, to-do list. To-do. The do-do list. This is what it's scientifically known as in Ireland. To-do list here, to do list in Ireland. And I would spend hours and hours and hours revved up trying to get through my day. Instead of now, if I have a problem, if I have something that needs figuring out, and have you noticed that all the problems in your life got solved? Have you noticed that all the problems in your life got resolved? Have you noticed that all the problems that you used to be thinking about are gone? As Kim says, the lady, Kim Tripsmith here, she was here before my show. She said they're gone into the dustbin of your past. The dustbin of your past. That is fantastic. That's just funny. So all the problems that you ever had, they're gone in the dustbin of your past or the dustbin of your memories. But yet we seem to think that every time we have a new problem, it's a new problem. When actually, in fact, it's just a question that you have not gotten an answer for. Now, the best way to solve all your problems is this. Slow down to the speed of a solution. Or if you're like me, you speed up to the problem of your thinking. What does that look like? Really simple. You sit down, you allow yourself to calm down. You have a built-in calming system. Some men have a button on their butt when they sit down to watch the TV. It hits the button and they just go, right? There's a great way to de-stress. It's called changing the channels. Right? Speaking of stress, my doctor told me that I should avoid any unnecessary stresses. So I didn't pay any of his bills. And that felt good. That felt really good. So here you go. Slow down to the speed of a solution. What does that mean, Dermot? Take a moment. Switch off your pagers and your pumpers and your iPhones and your iToasters and your iWatches and your iPads and your iMacs and every other thing that you have. And sit down and say, for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be so relaxed. I'm not going to focus on the problem. The only question I'm going to ask myself, and I'm just going to ask it once or twice, and then I'm going to sit in the silence for 10 minutes. I'm not going to meditate, God forbid. I'm just going to sit in the silence with a nice cup of tea and a biscuit or a cookie or a sandwich or whatever it might be. And I'm just going to ask myself, what are some ways that I could solve this problem? Or that this problem could be solved. Don't take out the word I and just say, what's one way this problem could be solved? Or what's one answer to this question? You can even reframe from the problem to a question. What's one question? Or what's one answer that I could give myself to this question? Because problems are not problems. They're just a question that hasn't been answered yet. All right, I want to read something here. I picked it up. Let me see if I still have it here. Oh yeah, this is from a book called "The Missing Link: Reflections on Philosophy and Spirit" by Sydney Banks. Cut off from innate wisdom, which is the innate wisdom that every one of us. I don't care if you're Irish, English, German, or Scottish, or Welsh. We all have innate wisdom within us. A lost thinker experiences isolation, fear, and confusion. This is why there are so many horrible atrocities throughout the world. Newspapers are full of wars and killings and children starving. Ignorance of our inner wisdom is the cause. There would be no sin in the world. Sin means, he's not talking about religious, he's talking about the word sin means to miss the mark. You would not miss the mark without such ignorance. In other words, you would have clarity if you didn't allow yourself to think about it so much. And this is what the problems, Einstein said, trying to solve the problem on the level that it was created is crazy. I'll say it a little differently. Trying to solve the problem with the level of thinking that created the problem in the first place is a waste of time. So how might you slow down to the speed of life? You sit down with a cup of tea, allow your thinking to settle. You have innate wisdom. You have innate peace. That's automatic. That peace settles when you settle. Did you ever notice that how resourceful you are when your body's relaxed? Did you ever know how resourceful you are when your mind is relaxed? Did you ever notice how unresourceful and stressed out you are when either your thinking is not relaxed or your body is not relaxed? Your body will follow your thinking. Wherever your thinking is, there your body will be. If your thinking is relaxed, your body's relaxed. If your thinking's all stressed and up in your head, your body will be tight. And I can tell you that from experience because I still deal with, stuff around my tight neck and tight jaw. And I know a lot of it's just through my thinking. Actually, all of it's through my thinking. So, your question. How might you slow down to the speed of a solution? Take a break, take a cup of tea, and just ask yourself the question, what's a question here that I could ask myself to create an answer? You can get rid of the word problem. Because a problem is a question that has not been answered yet. Now, I have, on my website, there's a free guide. I've had a lot of clients just share how helpful this guide was. It's on my website, thecelticcoach.com. You can go in there. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And you can sign up. You put your name in the email there, and I will send you a link to every week for the show. Just the show, the MP3 of the show. Nothing for you to read or any of that stuff. But it's a link to the show. And you also get a guide that has 7 powerful questions to create 7 powerful days. Now, I highly encourage you to check that out. There's some beautiful questions that I've taken that I use with my clients in coaching. And they've shared with me that they're very helpful. So I'd love for you to grab that and try it and let me know what you think. You can email me at thecelticcoach@gmail.com. All right, and if you want to hear a specific topic talked about in the show, you can email me there, or just email me through the website and let me know what's some things you're struggling with and what's some topics that you would like to hear on the show to support you in having a better life. Happy to do that too. All right, everyone, let's go to a little bit of Irish music. We're going to come right back with Seamus. And, I'm not sure what the heck that was. Hang on, let's try that again. All right, there we go. We're going to be back with Seamus, our Irish leprechaun. The top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about being human. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back. All right, special effects included. All right, welcome back, everyone. If you just joined us, you've missed most of the show. So get back on the website and listen to that whole show. You can go to thecelticcoach.com, weekly radio show. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're talking today about the funny side of life. Now, we started the show with a little bit of, what we do and why we do it, the funny things we humans do. And one way to solve all your problems is to realize that you don't have any. It's all in your head. Now, are there things that you need to take action on? Absolutely. We're not saying that. Denial is not the river in Egypt. You know what I mean? All right. Think about solving a problem in this way. There's a gap between the problem comes to you, and then there's a stage in there where it's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I feel like goo. And then the answer comes to you in insights. It's the best way I know how to sit, relax with a cup of tea, ask yourself, what are some options here? What are some ways to create some solutions for this? What are some new ways of thinking about this? And then just allow the inner wisdom to come to you. You have that. You don't have to think your way out of life. You don't have to think your way out of problems. You don't have to think about every single problem you have and get an answer. Allow the innate, intelligent wisdom within you to give you those answers. It's like the caterpillar to the butterfly, The caterpillar goes from the caterpillar, hey, how's it going, Bob? I'm just going in here. I'll see you in about a week or two. And the caterpillar turns to goo. Like literally turns to goo in his little cocoon. And then comes out and he's a butterfly. There was a caterpillar on the ground. He was walking around. He looked up and he saw a butterfly, and he looked up and he said, "You'll never get me up on one of those things." You got to think about that. All right, Seamus, are you on mic 2? Go to mic 2. Well, I was thinking about going to mic 3 if that's okay. No, Seamus, go to mic 2. I've just put mic 2 up on the screen. Well, but could I not go to mic 3? 2 is not a very lucky number. I don't. Okay, Seamus. I'm not going to argue with you, Seamus. All right, everyone. Hang on a second. All right, mic 3, Seamus. Okay, go over there. Have you got it there? You have? I have, Seamus. All right. Okay, you're on. Okay. Lights on. You're good, Seamus? Yeah. Headphones. Seamus, you need your headphones on. Oh, I don't like the headphones. Seamus, you have to wear the headphones today. Well, I don't like them. All right, Seamus, don't use the Don't use the headphones, Seamus. It's totally fine. It's not like we're on a professional show and we're live on the air, Seamus, and I'm arguing with a leprechaun on the air about the headphones. Well, your thinking will do what it's going to do. All right, Seamus, you could take it away. Hang on, let's play the Irish music here a little bit for you, Seamus, and then you can start. Yeah, it's on now, Seamus. Yeah. I'm playing the music, Seamus. You gotta be careful because the people can hear you talking, Well, you may not be telling secrets, Seamus, but you have to kind of keep it down. This is a professional show. Are you ready with your list now? Hey, we seem a little grumpy today. What's going on here? Lucky leprechaun, Seamus. I heard that, Seamus. I heard that. All right. Hello, everyone. Seamus O'Flaherty here with the top 11 list of things you absolutely do not need to know about being human. Ah, big Jesus. Get up there to your good thing. Okay, here we go. Top 11 things. A human is someone who cuts down trees, makes paper, and writes "save the trees" on the same paper. And for some reason, that paper is usually found in a public bathroom next to a hand dryer. Funny side of life there. All right, top 11 things. Here we go. Number 10. Have you ever done something stupid and then paid someone else to tell you why you did it? Well, have you? Have you? No, indeed you have. Number 9. Have you ever made a mistake and blamed somebody else for it? Like a child or an animal? Come on now. You have. Get up there. Number 8. Have you ever tried to calm a barking dog by shouting at it? Oh yes, I did. I was in the shower the other day. Doesn't work. It's like thinking about your problems. You only get more thinking. Have you ever cried at something funny or laughed at something sad? Indeed, you have. Jesus, just any of the Tom Cruise movies. Have you, alright, did you ever tell your problems to your cat only to find out later that your bloody cat doesn't speak English? Have you ever, oh, I've done that one many times. Feckin' cat. Alright, number 3. You know being human, it's not easy and it's quite funny at times. But what's the alternative? Turning into a unicorn? Being a cow? Number 4, being human is being a painter's brush all day long. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Alright, number 3. We are funny, us humans. We're the only species that are afraid of our thinking. It's like being fearful of an onion because it makes us cry. Number 2. Humans are funny. We want to control everything and everyone. And that's why we're so busy and we've got absolutely no time for ourselves. All right, number 1. The number 1 thing you absolutely do not need to know about being human is this. 5 rules for being human. Here you go now. You are a spark of the divine. You already know everything. Everything that you're seeking and looking for. It's not in a new home or house or car or a new girlfriend or a wife. It's within you. You are the soul and you can never ever die no matter how much alcohol you drink. You will forget all of this at birth and then you'll remember it after you're dead. I'm Seamus O'Flaherty with the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know about human. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you all next week. In case you're wondering, you're listening to the Celtic Coach radio show. That fantastic Irish guy that's sitting over there giving me the eye right now. Cheers, everyone, and good luck. Those types of things. One foot on the road, I can drive it right. I don't think that's why God gave us 2 eyes, Seamus, to be quite honest with you. Alright, coming back, Seamus, coming back. Alright, welcome back, everyone. That was the top 11 things you absolutely do not need to know. From Seamus O'Flaherty there about being human. All right, let's start to wind it down. We talked a little bit about the funny side of life. Why do we do what we do? We talked a little bit about one way to solve all your problems. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of all of this. There's 2 ways to live in life, I've found. Now, one I've found is to go with the flow, which I don't do a whole lot. When I was doing that walk across America from LA to DC, I had more problems with my physical body. I don't even want to go into it. You can read it in the book. It's coming out next year sometime. But I had more problems with my physical body because I was overthinking everything. Have you noticed that? That when you start to get stressed, you're not getting stressed at something from the outside world. Your stress is coming from the inside, not from the outside. Your stress is a direct result of overthinking. And that's just me not just saying that. I can tell you that from experience. But science has also proven that the effects that your thinking have on the body is huge. The impact is huge. Right? That's why people have let go and gone in and had near-death experiences. I was reading a bunch of books this week on near-death experiences because I'm going to have a few people come on the show now. Eben Alexander and a few other of those people who've written, books on the experience they've had. I'm going to have them come in. And one of the things that they talked about all the time was this idea of letting go. That before the near-death experience, they were the types of people that just went through life like a freight train, you know. They were just trying to get through life. And obsessing and thinking and worrying about and being anxious about all the little things in life. And after their near-death experience, they let go of their agenda. They showed up to life on their terms. They showed up to life with no agenda and allowed themselves to be guided, which all of us, you don't have to die to have that guidance. We already have that guidance within us. Every single one of us. Even Seamus. He's got it too. I heard that, Dermot. That was for you, Seamus. That was for you. Inner wisdom, Seamus, yes. Go, Seamus. We all have it within us. And so we can go with the flow or we can be dragged. Now, it's really interesting. Another way of thinking about that is that we can love our way through life, or we can learn through love, or we can learn through pain. We can go with the flow, or we can be dragged. For some reason, most of us, including myself, I go through life where when I want to learn some lessons, it's usually through pain and suffering, through my body. There's physical pain or something in my body, and I decide, okay, I need to go and and get this taken care of. I need someone to help me out here. What's going on with my body? But we can learn as easily through love as we can through pain. But pain, of course, is interesting because suffering is like a prod to God. It's like a prod to grow. It's like a prod to insight. It's a prod to wisdom. We're more open to hearing new things when we're suffering. Because it's like, I want to get out of this pain. Like I'm going through some healing stuff with this healer right now. And I've had a lot of pain around my neck and my jaw and all of that stuff. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be doing some of the things. I wouldn't have gotten involved in some of the healing modalities and spiritual stuff and metaphysical stuff that I've gotten through the years. And it's impacted my life in a very positive way. It's part of why I do the show. Because I've had enough pain and suffering and misery and all that type of stuff in my life that now I can share it with you and make your life miserable and suffering and pain. Just kidding. All right. So in a way, our thinking, everyone, cuts us off from that innate inner wisdom that we have because we're thinking so much. So one of the ways I talked about earlier was we can slow down to the speed of life. We don't need more therapy in the world. We need more clarity. I have clients that come to me and they say, Dermot, I've got to fix this problem. I've got to fix this thing in my life and fix that thing in my life. And the first thing that I will help them with is to see that there's nothing in their life is broken. There's absolutely nothing in their life that needs fixing. Now, that doesn't mean there's things in their life that they don't want to give time and attention to. But there's nothing broken in our lives. If we are spiritual beings having a human experience, if we are a soul expressed in form through thought, emotion, feeling, intuition, all of those things, then there's nothing broken about us. And all form in the world is an expression or a recognition of thought. Look around the world. Look at everything. Look at I'm looking around the studio here, and there's CDs in the wall, there's old records, there's speakers, there's microphones, there's a mixing board, there's computers, there's all this engineering equipment. And at some point, all of this was just a thought in someone's head. And that thought created a feeling, an inspiration, a value, a moment where, hey, let's create something new. The computer, the iPhone, all a thought in somebody's head. Every form that you see, everything that's in form, that's physical in this world, is an expressed thought, is it a recognition of an expressed thought into form. That's pretty wild. Now, the other thing that's really important about life being a full contact sport is that all feelings, they become alive. Now, whether they're negative or positive, they come alive through the power, from the power of thought. That's powerful. That's really powerful. But we're so afraid to get life wrong, aren't we? Now, when I say life is a full contact sport, I mean that, yes, life is about being all in. There's no point in sitting by the sidelines watching the game. It can be fun for a while, but if you spend your whole life sitting by the sidelines watching the game, in the same way with this, would you be happy if you bought tickets to a game, you spent $200 to go to see a football game, and on the way somebody told you the results, said, hey, I'm from the future, I've already been there, and the Patriots lose. Would you go to see the game? You might, but would you enjoy it? No. But yet we think in life that we want to know if we could just control this outcome, that control, that result, that it would make life better. It's not going to make life better. It makes life more boring. If you already know the result, if you play a game of Monopoly and you already know that you're going to win every time you play the game of Monopoly, you wouldn't play it very long because it would get boring. You'd know that every time you spin the dice, you're going to win. That's not a game. The reason we play games, the reason we're living our lives, is we don't know what the results are going to be. That's the adventure. That's the gift. In the same way we try to solve problems on the level that they're created, not possible. You got to step out of the game. You got to step out of the problem and see it with a new eye. Most people are not willing to see their problems as a question. Most people are not willing to see their lives as something to be lived as opposed to something that they need to get through. Now, look, I'm not saying that life is easy. Life is very tough at times. It's a full contact sport. But if we're going to be here on this planet, then we might as well get into life. If you're going to be playing a game, you might as well get into the game instead of playing it on the sidelines. It's not very much fun watching the game being played and everyone having fun. And parts of the game, there's going to be goals, and there's going to be wins, and parts of the game, there's going to be losses. Parts of the games, people are going to get hurt, and parts of the game is going to flow like a butterfly flying through whatever, the mist. Terrible analogy, but you get the idea. All right? Life is a full contact sport. There's going to be times when we're on the sideline. There's going to be times when we're in the hospital. There's going to be times when we're carried off the field. There's going to be times that we're just in the flow, having the game of our life. There's going to be times when we're going to get beaten up. There's going to be times that we're just in love with every part of the game. There's going to be times we hate the game. That's all part of the game. But yet what we do is we say, okay, well, I'm going to play this game, but the parts that I don't like, I don't want those to happen. The parts that make me feel bad, I don't want those to happen. The parts that are kind of icky, and kind of, I don't like those. I don't want those to happen, okay? And we tell our mind this. We tell our brain, look, just create a beautiful, wonderful life, a beautiful day for me today. I don't want anyone to bother me. I want everything to go well at work. I want to have enough money in the bank. I want to feel secure. I want to feel safe. I don't want to get stressed out. And then we tell our mind to take care of all of that for us. And we wonder why our mind is on 24/7 trying to do all of that. We give our mind an impossible task. So the solution? Take a step back. Slow down to the speed of life as opposed to trying to rev up to the speed of your thinking. Start to notice that your thinking and your circumstances are two different things. That what you're experiencing in life is not part of your thinking. Your thinking is separate to that part. And that part is separate to your thinking. No amount of money is going to make you feel more secure. No amount of new cars is going to fix that problem in your life. We got to start to understand that what creates our experience is we have a thought. It creates a feeling. And that feeling we call our experience. Now, You might say, well, Dermot, how do I change my feeling or stop my thinking? You don't. Allow everything in your life, as the great Ajay Shanti, a friend of mine, once said, Dermot, no manipulation. Do not manipulate anything in your life. See everything in your life as part of life. Nothing is separate from the game. There are players, there are winners, there are losers in all of the games. And we'll feel in our lives, there's no actual winners or losers, but we'll feel in our lives sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. But if we could just be okay with that which we label as losing, there's no losing, there's no such thing. You can't lose in the game of life. With all these near-death experience books that I read, they all said the same thing. You cannot get life wrong. But we're constantly, including myself, I have a hard time at times with allowing that in, that, hey, I can't get this wrong. I can mess up and make mistakes and try again and pick myself up and brush myself off and keep going. I can move forward. I can try different things. I can show up, be present as best as I can. But there's no such thing as perfection in life. There's just a moving forward, which is what moving forward, progress, is all about. Just having progress. So give yourself a break today, everyone. Let yourself off the hook. If there's something you're beating yourself up over, I'm not good enough, I'm not great enough, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm not being that, I don't have enough confidence, I don't have enough courage, I don't have enough blah, blah, blah. Let yourself off the hook. And just say, you know what? What I have today is enough. Who I am today is enough. What I have in my life today is enough to live a great life. Who I am today is enough to experience joy, peace, love, confidence, courage. All those things are inside of you. They're not outside of you. No amount of cars or wives or money is going to give that to you. You have that. You own that already. You are a spark of the divine. You are a spiritual being. You are a soul who's put on this human jacket in life, and you're having this human experience, but you can never ever be broken. You can never ever get it wrong. Everything that you do in life moves you forward, whether you think it does or doesn't. There's no brokenness to you. Something that is perfect cannot be broken. And you can't get this thing called life wrong. Even when you think you're off track, you're on track. Trust me on that one. So give yourself a break today. Whatever problem or thing that you're pushing against, let go of it just for today. Would you be willing today to just let go of that idea you have that it should be a certain way? Let go of it and see what emerges in its place. It's very powerful, very powerful. We all got to give ourselves infinite slack. Too hard on ourselves. We're way too hard on ourselves. Again, I put myself in that category. I'm way too hard on myself at times. And sometimes I do this show just to remind myself, Dermot, give yourself a break, buddy. You're doing great. You're doing what you can. Even when you're not doing your best, you're doing your best. Because it's all you know how to do in the moment. So take yourself off that hook today. Because it doesn't do you any good. It really doesn't. I speak from experience on that one. And go out today and just have an ordinary day and be okay with not being Tom Cruise. Not being any of those Hollywood people. Not having the flashy this and the flashy that. And just go out and enjoy your life for today. Take a walk, hold somebody's hand, go for a cup of tea, sit and reflect, look at the birds, listen to some good music, dance around the living room. Tell someone who you haven't told you love them today. Call someone that you're not in connection with and just say, hey, I know it's been a long time, but I just want to tell you I was thinking about you. Text them, send them a picture. Be okay with having an ordinary day today. And if you want, tomorrow you can astonish yourself in some other way. If you want to hear more, everyone, or you want to get a copy of the show, you can go to the CelticCoach.com, CELTIC Coach, CelticCoach.com. Put your name in there, and I'll send you a link to the show every Sunday night. And also pick up my free guide. It's a really beautiful free guide. I've had a lot of good feedback on it. 7 questions for 7 powerful days. And when you put your email in there, you can get it. Again, I'm not going to bother you with anything else. I'll just send you a link to the show. Feel free to listen to it every week. And if I can be of support, if there's any way that I can support you, if you got something you're dealing with in life and you want to get some coaching, feel free to reach out to me on the website. All right, everyone. Until next week, we're going to be talking to Daniel the Healer next week is coming in. And we're going to be talking about spirituality. We're going to be talking about how do we heal ourselves? How do we move forward in life with a lot less hassle? How do we start to create and get the more out of our lives? So we're going to be talking that and much more. The week after that, we'll have Guy Finley coming in and talking about his new book, Relationship Magic, which I am very excited to talk to Guy about. Until next week, everyone. Think big, have fun, stay curious. We're here every Friday from 1 to 3. Content of our shows from 1:30 to 2:30 on KOWS.FM, or you can go to the website CelticCoach.com and go to Irish Stew for the Soul newsletter, and there's a link for the show there. Until next week, everyone, think big, have fun, stay curious. I'm the Celtic Coke. And that, my dear friends, is no Blarney. Cheers, everyone.